Hello everyone, welcome back to The Playing Guy with me, The Playing Guy. You are all very warmly welcome back to the channel, whether you are new or a returning subscriber. And today we are going to be trying out the new MK Studios Dublin scenery for P3D V4. Now this particular scenery I've been excited in getting for quite a while. Obviously they've let people know via their Facebook page that they are going to be doing Dublin for a few months now, and ever since so I've been quite excited, especially because I'm a very big fan of their other products, mainly Lanzarote and Tenerife. Those airports are just fantastic, and quite honestly I can't wait to dive in and see what they have done with Dublin. Now, just in case you are unfamiliar with Dublin, Dublin is the largest airport in Ireland by passenger volume and acts as a hub for both Aer Lingus and Ryanair. So I now invite you please to sit back, relax and enjoy the review. So the first thing I'd like to talk about are the ground textures. Now you can really sense that MK Studios have put a lot of work into the ground textures, mostly down to how detailed they are. If you look in particular areas, mostly the parking areas, you're going to notice that there's actually quite a lot of cracks and oil spots, which really adds to the authenticity of said areas feeling quite old and decrepit, which I think just goes so far in adding to the authenticity level. Real criticism in this area is that I do feel that some of the cracks and the oil textures are repeated across multiple stands, but overall I do seem to believe that the ground textures are just absolutely brilliant. Obviously there are small patches of both concrete and asphalt, and you can really get the sense that there may have been some work carried out in just that particular area. Not only that, one of the things I also like is the good attention to detail, as at Dublin there's actually quite a lot of signs that saying that pilots should actually use minimum power, and this is also noticeable in this product. Actually, as you would expect, there is a number of static vehicles littered about the apron, which include liveries from both Ryanair and Aer Lingus, the two biggest operators out of Dublin. With this, you can also expect the taxiway signage to be very accurately lit at night and placed appropriately. Careful when taxiing though, because it can be quite easy to lose your way at Dublin. When it comes to both SOD and GSX, I had absolutely no problems whatsoever. In regards of SOD, it will work fine, naturally as you would expect. However, the only issue came when I was trying to select two jetways onto a large aircraft like the Boeing 747. Unfortunately, this did not seem to work, and it only appears you can put one jetway on an aircraft at a time. But from what I'm aware of, I think that's quite normal for Dublin. Also, on that basis, GSX will also work fine as well. I had absolutely no issues with that across a variety of stands. I'd like to talk about the buildings, and the first place I'd like to start is actually the landside buildings, mainly the terminal entrance. Now usually, even though this is an area we don't tend to see an awful lot of, I still think the big developers like Aerosoft and MK Studios still model this area, and they always seem to be modeled quite well. Now I'm afraid I'm slightly disappointed, as I do think the modelling landside is actually slightly lacking on those important details, as you can see within the photos and the videos. Like I say, I did find this overall to be slightly disappointing, especially because Dublin has a unique trait amongst airports in that it has two landside landside churches, which I was not able to notice. So yeah, this is slightly unusual for MK Studios, I did find, but thankfully other buildings, mainly airside, did compensate slightly for this. When it comes to the airside buildings themselves, obviously at Dublin you have both a mix of older style buildings and newer style buildings as well. And Dublin is not unique in this example, as a lot of other airports have a similar layout. And when I'm talking about the newer buildings, I'm mainly referring to the piers on both Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. Now, these are exquisite works of art by MK Studios. It is just absolutely unreal the amount of attention to detail they have put into these buildings. Honestly, it just blows my mind even talking about it. Naturally, as you can expect with MK Studios, they go so far as to add to another level of authenticity by including transparent windows in the actual terminal itself. So as a pilot actually sat in your aircraft, you can actually look into the terminal itself. which, like I say, just gives new life to the overall feeling within being in Flight Simulator. Of course, you also have superb shadow quality and textures, depending on what time of day it is. Obviously, it will look different, but other than that, obviously, you do have accurately placed objects, like say you also bollards, cars, vehicles, all that alike. Yet again, just absolutely brilliant. But then it's not like MK Studios have a skimp when it comes to the older buildings as well. Now these older buildings you can actually find in between both Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. Now in between that, I think you've got two, I think they're called satellite piers, and you've also got the original terminal building as well. Now those are yet again just beautifully modelled, and they've gone so far as to actually model the material used. I think it's more sort of brickwork in that, and you can really sort of sense that. You can really see it is an older building, which does actually make them stand out against the new ones as well. So the combination of all those buildings airside just makes the entire experience so authentic, so real, and for me, one of the best parts about this scenery. Of course, it's not just the terminal buildings which have been modelled as well. We also have the hangar buildings, which can be found near the control tower, featuring CityJet liveries, and just northeast of Terminal 1 we have hangars used by Aer Lingus and Ryanair. So the first point I'd like to make about this is that they are accurate. This is where you would actually find the real-life hangars for the various airlines. Secondly to that, I am slightly disappointed that none of the hangars are actually open. It's quite normal to actually see a hangar open at an airport and obviously see some planes inside, so it would have been nice to see that. But overall, when MK Studios have a lot to do within this scenery, I can't really blame them for not including something like that. As you can see here, we get some absolutely brilliant views from the top of the control tower here, and overall you can really get a sense of how nicely the entire area has been modelled. Of course, near the tower we do have the fire station, which is very nicely modelled yet again, along with the nearby isolated apron area with one or two static aircraft. And then of course we cannot forget about the absolutely wonderful smaller hangars you can find near the tower. Of course, it's not just the airport which MK Studios have modelled, but they've also modelled nearby buildings and roadways. So, for example, on approach to runway 28, you'll naturally come over the motorway which connects it to the airport, and then, of course, taking off from runway 28 as well, you have all the various parking areas out towards the left-hand side. As well as that, there's also quite a noticeable IKEA shop near the runway as well. So overall, there's been quite a lot of effort also put into the surrounding landmass. Now, unfortunately, I do think this might actually have a bit of a performance hit, as on approach various times I did actually experience quite the high stutter in that it froze for about 15 seconds at a time, and I experienced at least 3 of those. So overall, I would say that it can be a little bit buggy, and I do expect to have 1 or 2 of the occasional freezers when flying around in the local area. Onto the runways, and when it comes to the runways, they have not been spared from the artistic merit of the MK Studios development team. There is just such amazing detail in the runway itself, especially with the centralized charring that really makes the runway look heavily used and accurately replicates the rubber marks that you'll naturally expect to see on a runway such as this. And of course, this has been featured for both runways. Now, of course, such things like the piano keys and white lines are placed accurately as you would expect, but also they've replicated the real world lighting as well, which is something I'm quite surprised to see, because sometimes it just feels as if some developers will just put any random lighting system in. But no, MK Studios have actually put in the real lighting system used at Dublin Airport. I particularly like is how even in the day the runway holding stop bars are actually illuminated, which even in the day you can still see, and I don't think too many developers do this, which is something I really do like. On to my last point, which has to be the night lighting. And oh my goodness, one absolutely amazing job MK Studios have done with the night lighting. You can really sense that they have utilized the PBR technology to the fullest effect. Not only does it look very, very bright and very, very accurate, attention to detail can be seen throughout when flying at night. Now, one of the things I particularly like is, naturally, as you would expect, the taxiway edge lighting is blue, but then the brightness has actually been turned down on that, so it doesn't actually stand out, which is how you actually want it to be. But instead, it's the runway lights that actually stand out, which obviously just adds to that authenticity, because you don't really want both lights absolutely beaming at you. But then it's not just the runway and taxiway lights you also have to look at as well. It is the terminal lights, it is the apron lights, and overall, I think it just looks absolutely brilliant, and it should be absolutely amazing to fly in a night environment. Already, I've done 1 or 2 day flights. However, I have not yet done a night flight, which is something that I am very, very keen to do. But overall, the nighting looks very, very brilliant, very, very accurate. So to summarise, like I say, a few months ago when I first heard that MK Studios was going to do Dublin, I was ecstatic because I already knew that I was going to do a good job. Now already those impressions have been well exceeded. I did not think they were going to do as good of a job as they have done. It is absolutely amazing, and I really, really do enjoy the scenery. Everything just complements each other nicely, whether it's the 3D buildings, like I say, they've been done very, very nicely, the ground textures, the lighting, it all really adds to an authentic overall experience. And quite honestly, I can't wait until Aerosoft release the A330, which means then I'll be able to do some Aer Lingus long haul, and I really do think that with this scenery and that airplane, it is really going to add a very, very nice authentic experience. So from my own personal point of view, I do highly recommend it enough, because MK Studios have definitely utilised the absolutely brilliant software available within P3D V4. So yes, like I say, once again, I highly recommend it, and if you do want to go get it, make sure you do visit the link down in the section below where you can go get it from their website. But from me, the Plane Guy, everyone, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I certainly hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget, please comment down in the section below what do you think about this airport, and of course please do not forget to like and subscribe. But from me, the Plane Guy, once again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.